Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brad Carter, and you're listening to History Resonance Radio. Tonight, we bring you a special broadcast from Europe, where one of the most significant battles in modern history is rapidly approaching its conclusion. For nearly 6 years, the world has been consumed by war. Entire nations have been mobilized. Cities have been reduced to rubble. Millions have been displaced by a conflict that has stretched across continents. Now, all eyes are fixed upon one city, Berlin, the capital of Germany. The city that once stood at the center of a vast military machine is now surrounded by Soviet forces advancing from multiple directions. Reports arriving throughout the day suggest fierce fighting continues across the city as Soviet troops push deeper into Berlin's streets. Communication remains difficult, and information is often delayed. However, one thing appears increasingly clear. The battle for Berlin may soon determine the final outcome of the war in Europe. For the latest developments, we now go live to our correspondent, Katie Mitchell, reporting from Berlin. Katie, can you hear us?
Yes, Brad, loud and clear. The situation here remains extremely tense. Throughout the day, artillery fire has echoed across the city without interruption. Large columns of smoke continue rising above the skyline, and fires can be seen burning in several districts. Many streets have become nearly impassable due to damaged buildings, rubble, and abandoned military vehicles. The sounds of combat can be heard in almost every direction. Despite the danger, civilians remain throughout the city, sheltering wherever they can while waiting for news of what comes next. There is a growing sense among many people here that Berlin is witnessing the final days of a long and devastating war. Back to you, Brad.
Thank you, Katie. Please stay safe. Listeners, it is difficult to overstate the importance of what is unfolding tonight. Just a few years ago, German forces controlled vast portions of Europe. Military victories seemed unstoppable. Yet today, the very city that directed those campaigns finds itself under siege. Military analysts report that Soviet forces have continued making gains throughout the capital. Street fighting remains intense. Entire neighborhoods have changed hands multiple times over the past several days. Unlike battles fought in open fields, urban warfare is slow and brutal. Every building can become a defensive position. Every street corner can become a battlefield. Progress is measured not in miles, but sometimes in a few hundred yards. Reports from military observers indicate that Soviet troops are steadily advancing toward key government districts. The outcome remains officially undecided. However, many experts believe the balance of the battle has shifted decisively. Across Europe tonight, people listen anxiously to every report arriving from Berlin. Families separated by war hope this conflict may soon end. Soldiers stationed across the continent await news that could change the course of history. And civilians everywhere wonder what the world will look like once the fighting finally stops. As darkness falls over Berlin, artillery flashes continue illuminating the night sky. Witnesses describe constant explosions in the distance. Many districts remain without normal services. Food supplies have become increasingly limited. Medical facilities are operating under tremendous pressure. For those trapped inside the city, survival has become the primary concern. Yet even amid destruction, people continue searching for loved ones, helping neighbors, and hoping for peace. History often focuses on armies and governments, but tonight, countless ordinary citizens are living through events that future generations will study for decades. We are now receiving additional reports suggesting Soviet forces have moved even closer to the central districts of Berlin. While these reports cannot yet be independently confirmed, they are consistent with information received throughout the day from multiple sources. To provide another update from the ground, we return now to Katie Mitchell in Berlin. Katie.
Good night. Thank you, Brad. Since our last report, the sounds of fighting appear to have moved even closer to the city center. Smoke continues to drift across much of the skyline. From several locations, distant artillery flashes remain visible. People here are exhausted. Many have spent days sheltering underground while battles rage above them. Some civilians cautiously emerge during quieter moments in search of food, water, or information before returning to shelter. The uncertainty is perhaps the most difficult part. No one seems to know exactly what tomorrow will bring. Yet, there is a growing belief among many residents that a decisive moment is approaching. The city around us bears the scars of years of war and weeks of intense fighting. And tonight, Berlin waits. Back to you, Brad.
Thank you, Katie. Ladies and gentlemen, the events unfolding in Berlin tonight represent far more than a single battle. They represent the closing chapter of a conflict that has reshaped the modern world. The war has touched nearly every corner of the globe. It has altered nations, economies, and countless individual lives. Now, as Soviet forces continue their advance through the German capital, the possibility of an end to the war in Europe appears closer than ever before. What happens in the coming hours and days will be remembered for generations. Historians will examine these events. Students will read about them. Future generations will ask what it was like to witness history in real time. Tonight, millions are doing exactly that. For now, the battle continues. The guns have not fallen silent. The outcome has not yet been officially declared. But the world is watching, and the world is waiting. This is Brad Carter for History Resonance Radio. Thank you for joining us for this special broadcast. Good night.